Well, Myan, welcome to the programme. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. You've just come back from India. Tell us a bit about, first of all, why you were there.
Well, with all the persecution that was taking place, we decided to go out and see what we could do. We also had opportunities to minister as well. And when we were there, the access to areas like Orissa was totally out of bounds. They wouldn't allow any Christian workers in. Even some of the aid workers were not allowed in. So we had to just look from the outset and learn from people that were there what was going on.
Let's go back quite a long way. Let's do some history to start with. I think a lot of people don't realise that there has been a Christian tradition in India for centuries, isn't it? It's not a Johnny-come-lately thing.
No, definitely. I mean, if you look at it, the history is that Thomas, one of Jesus' disciples, he was able to bring the gospel to South India, and unfortunately, he was martyred in South India. So the gospel did have a presence, or has had a presence in India for centuries.
Now, in the past, has there been friction between the Christian community and the majority Hindu community?
There were incidences of persecution and not getting along well, but it's really flared up recently with the killing of a Hindu priest, and automatically the radical Hindus thought that the Christians were responsible for that, and this is what has led to the persecution in Orissa and Karnataka and the rest of India now.
So what is the situation for Christians there?
At the moment, it's really a dire situation. Christians were put into aid camps, and even in the aid camps, they weren't getting assistance. I mean, some of the stories we've heard is that the water supply for the Christians were poisoned, and it just so happened. I mean, thank God, somebody opened up the tap and they noticed a bluish substance coming out, and he alerted the authorities, and they found out that the water supply was deliberately poisoned. That's one of the incidences. The other incidences are that there's these forced reconversions back to Hinduism taking place. So Christians are told, we'll give you everything that you've lost back. We'll rebuild your house, we'll give you back your possessions, but you need to reconvert to Hinduism. So there's definitely that freedom of religion that's taken away.
And there's been violence as well.
Yeah, I mean, some of the violence that has taken place is so horrific. People probably know about them, where they're actually getting burnt. There's kerosene that's getting poured on them. There's the threats of convert back to Hinduism or else you will die. We've heard some really heart-wrenching stories of Christians being told face to face, are you a Christian? And you say, yes. Well, we want you to deny Christ or else you will die. And of course, the believers have said, no, I'd rather die than reconvert.
But what's weird about this is that the average Hindu is a peaceful person. Violence isn't part of the Hindu tradition.
Well, this is the irony. When I was in India, there was this national debate on television where you had one of these radical Hindu party members saying that Gandhi was totally against conversions to Christianity. And I looked at it and I said, hold on. The Gandhi that we know was totally against violence, more so than that. So there's definitely that manipulation. There's the, I look at it as what happened in the Germany, where Hitler tried to turn the Germans against the Jews by making them believe that the Jews were a threat to the German nationhood. And that's similar to what's happening in India, where these radical Hindu parties are making it seem that the Christians are taking over India and destroying the culture and the very fabric of what it is to be an Indian.
Because there is an element of unhappiness about the colonial past, where Christianity was sort of shipped in wholesale, and so I would guess that there is an element of wariness about Christianity.
Well, this is it, and this is why we were told it's quite unsafe. One of the mission organizations that we work closely with sent out a message to all their foreign supporters. For this period of time, it's not safe for you to travel to India, because as a European, you'd stand out, whereas myself, I blend in as a local, so there's no problems with that. But, as a European coming in, you're really opening yourself up to this sort of attack from the local radicals that are there. And having that colonial past where, like you mentioned, they feel that Christianity has come over to take over their existing culture, which is totally not true, because as we mentioned, Christianity has been in there long before the British went to India.
Yeah, because the Christian community has, they're not just lying down. There have been protests, haven't there? We had a story about a protest in Delhi a couple of weeks ago here on Nzone, but I know there have been others as well.
Yeah, this weekend, the churches of Hyderabad, they've united and they've had a march, and I've just got word on that it was quite successful. There's a lot of unity that was present there, and the message was getting out there. In fact, what I've been told also was that the majority of India, the majority of the Hindus are totally appalled at what's taking place, because they know that if it wasn't for the church, you wouldn't have your hospitals that are there, you wouldn't have the schools that are there. And this is the thing that these radicals are really threatened by, because they look at it and they see that Christianity has undermined a big part of Hinduism, which is the caste system. There's a huge ministry to Dalits in India at the moment by a lot of Christian ministries, and the Dalits, as you know, are the untouchables, and these are the lowest of the low caste. What happens is that these guys are ministered to. The light of the gospel breaks through the bondage that they've been going through, and they get given this new life in Christ. And the Hindus don't like that, because we are undermining the caste system. And I mean, coming from South Africa myself, having lived under an oppressive system, we know that Galatians 3:28 says that there is neither male nor female, Jew nor Greek, slave nor free, because we're all one in Christ Jesus. And this is the message that has really shaken the very pillars of Hinduism.
We've almost out of time, but just briefly, what can we do here?
Well, for one, I would really encourage churches to get together and actively have their prayer meetings, which are carrying on at the moment, but also to get in touch with the local Indian embassy, which is in Wellington, and let them know that we really want them to do a bit more to protect the Christians, because at the moment the Christians in the aid camps are not being adequately protected.
Great. Well, Myan, thank you very much indeed for joining us.